So in this episode, we're going to discuss how you can get abs all year round. Okay, so I've got a few strategies that I want to share with you that'll really just help you. And first and foremost, I do just want to really, I suppose, just share with you, right? You might have a holiday, you might have a wedding, you might have a 30th birthday or whatever that you want to be in shape for. But really the goal behind that goal is ultimately having abs year round, is being lean, is being athletic, is being lean for life. And you've got to look at it like that. Okay, so it's great that you've got this milestone to start with, but you've got to look at, right, what is really going to get you to stay lean for years to come. And yes, you might want to then go into a gaining phase or then go into a performance phase, which is grand, but ultimately just keep starting from a lean base and always keeping that lean base is going to be key. So first things first is I'd recommend moving early in the day. Okay, one of the biggest things that'll allow for you to stay lean is just movement. Okay, so daily movement is having say if it's 10, 12k, just having a higher level of movement and consistently over a grand scheme of things that you are just moving regularly. And if you can do that early in the day, it's going to increase your chances of it. So if you can go for that morning walk, or can do it while you're on your break, or can do it while you're on your lunch, just ensuring that before it hits 12, 1, 2, that you've already got 4, 5, 6,000 steps in. So I'd really encourage you to get to get some movement in at the early part of the day. The next thing, and this is just absolute key, is always just plan your food. Okay, you know when you're going to work, you know the time that you got work, just plan your food. Okay, even at the weekends, just think, right, I'm going to have this for breakfast, I'm going to have this for lunch, I'm going to have this for dinner. Just don't eat reactively. Being proactive with your food is going to be key. Let's forget the calorie tracking and all that. Just planning your food, even if it is, right, when you're writing down or you're sitting down mentally even, just saying, this is what I'm going to have to eat. Okay, so have an idea of what you're eating. Plan that ahead of time. The next thing as well is just eat lighter in the morning and in the earlier parts of the day. Leave a bigger bank of calories for the evening. Don't be afraid to slightly just reduce and go, say for example, if it's just protein for your breakfast, or a chicken salad or whatever for lunch, but just generally eat lighter in the earlier parts of the day. Focus on your protein, focus on your veg, then have a larger portion of calories and carbohydrates in the evening. It'll help you stay aligned with your calories in the long run. Generally, I feel like if you focus more on protein and fats in the earlier parts of your day, it'll help. It'll help you keep you satiated, help you focused, rather than big heavy bites of carbs. So I wouldn't really recommend big bowl of cereal, things like that in the morning. And then really first few hours of the day, really ramp up on your water. Most people sometimes as well miss what actual real hunger compared to they're dehydrated or they're bored or contextual hunger. So just ensure that you're having a lot more water, and that'll help keep that at bay. I want you to think about this. Most people really always resort to the sort of same 10 meals on a regular basis. Most people generally rotate around 10 meals that they are just used to eating. We don't actually usually have as much variety as what we tend to think. And if we keep those 10 meals and we slightly alter them and keep them aligned towards your goal of being lean and things, that is going to help you so much. So start to make some small shifts with it. It might be the quantity. It might be that you choose a lower calorie option. It might be that you take out some sauces or go for a lower one. It might be that you go for a black coffee rather than a white coffee. But most people don't actually eat a lot of different things. So the same 10 meals, slightly altering that is going to be key. Okay. The next thing I want you to think about is really your relationship with food. Okay. So I want you to really think about this. Now, this is going to be deeper, and this will take for you to really assess and be aware of your behaviors. But I want for you to think about, when you're eating food, do you really need this? Is this really going to help you perform? Is this really going to get you to where you want to be and have the body that you want to have? Having mental little cues like that. Now, you don't always need to have the mental cue on every single meal of the day, But generally, like, I would encourage you to keep some foods for like social occasions and stuff. So like if you're eating out and things, but generally outside of that, trying to eat to the best quality standard that you physically can. And to be able to do that, you are going to need to change your thinking towards food. So ask yourself, is it going to help you? Is it going to move you forward? Is it the best quality option that you can choose? And by having a trigger, by doing that, you'll notice that your food decisions will get better. The other thing is when you are craving chocolate, or when you are craving like some food that isn't just ideal, like, or I want you to think about, right, this food, it's not going anywhere. Okay, there's always going to be like chocolate, sweets, drink, there's always going to be that. And by putting that in your mind, it really just reduces the overall craving and the power of that craving, so that you can make an effective choice. So I really want you to think about that. I really want you to be aware of why you're eating certain foods, and by changing that, that'll help you stay lean all year round. I want you to think about, right, food, environment, okay? So out of sight, out of mind. So think about, right, if you start eating better, if you start having better quality food, you'll end up eating better quality food. So really just audit your food shop and start to have healthier foods in there, and less crap and things, and even allocating certain times for you to let yourself have some of those foods is going to be key. The other thing that I like to think about too is like, right, if this food wasn't in my, like, if it wasn't in my sort of environment, would I even want it right now? And that really helps me identify that this is just because it's in front of me, rather than I'm actually craving this. Like, it's actually something that I feel like I need, because you will, as you're getting leaner and as you're progressing and stuff, you will still have cravings, even if you are super focused. So it's just about managing that, which is key. Because when you take it out of the environment, you'll notice that those cravings will come up less and less and less and less. Okay. And like when you are, I suppose, eating out and stuff, and when you are allowing yourself to have certain foods, like, ask yourself firstly, what is the amount that I want? So if you say, for example, right, I'm going to go tonight, we're having pizza with mates and stuff, and I'm going to have like half a pizza. That's what I'm going to allow myself. But then when you get there and you go and have the full pizza, and you go and have the ice cream or whatever, and all the fizzy drinks and stuff, like, you just got carried away in that moment. So I want you to reduce that, because that adds up. If you're doing that, say, once a week, that's 50 times a year, and over time that will, like, that'll show. So it will, that'll show on you, and you just won't feel great. So I really want you to start to set intentions with what your amount is, what you're going to allow yourself for this week, this month, like how many social occasions. Are those social occasions going to be heavy in calories and drink, or are they going to be medium, or going to be light, and setting some sort of standard for yourself. And if you notice that you're getting carried away, just go a lot slower when you're eating, when you're chewing. Be present. Remember to focus on the occasion, not the food, and enjoy the occasion rather than solely just the food. And that'll be key. Okay, that'll be really key. So, well, just stopping at 80% and having that higher level of awareness. I really want you to think about. And the next thing, like, guys, this isn't about necessarily like getting you away from crappy foods. It's more as well as like, one thing that when you have, say, a poor quality meal, that tends to go on to another, and it tends to get you a lot longer to get back eating really well. So I want you to think about, you can have one poor quality meal, but you can't have two in a row. So it's even just getting that back to a high standard is key. And that done consistently will result in massive changes in your physique, so much. I can't stress that enough. Now, with your training, just locking that in, okay? Just locking in your training and having that as an absolute consistent, it's going to keep you lean year round, and training ridiculously hard, like really, like training and using your food as fuel, and really just having a high level of output with your training, it'll keep you lean, okay? So really getting strong really adding a lot of muscle, like really doing a little bit of conditioning, like just your training. You really want to ensure this to high quality. And one of the biggest things that'll just keep you lean, and I recommend this if you haven't, say for example, you haven't got to your goal physique, like if that is right, you want to get abs. If you haven't got to that ab state and you've never been able to achieve that, or you've achieved it but you haven't been able to achieve it, you haven't been able to integrate it into your lifestyle without likes of tracking and things for 12 months, I would recommend taking photos weekly. Okay, I would recommend having a day every week where you take photos, because if you can get into that shape and you can sustain that for long term, like having those photos is just going to keep you key. Okay, it's going to keep you on track. It's going to keep you focused. So just having those photos, you'll start to be able to catch when you are possibly letting a little bit loose, when you're possibly starting to get a little bit softer, a little bit fluffier. So I really recommend that if you haven't got to your goal physique, or you haven't got lean, you haven't got abs the way you want to, take photos every single week. And if you have and you haven't been able to sustain that for 12 months, still keep taking the photos. Okay, so it's key. It'll help you master it. It'll help you master that lean for life stage. Okay, so guys, I hope that was really just insightful for you, just gave you so much. I'm just going to run through it again. So move earlier in the day, plan your food, be proactive with your food, eat a little bit lighter in the morning and the afternoon, opt towards proteins and fats in the morning and afternoon, have a lot of water in the early parts of the day, make swaps amongst the 10 main meals that you eat. So for example, you'll have 10 meals that you generally rotate around, but just slightly alter them so that they're aligned with the calories, and you're just slightly less in calories. Really look at your relationship with food. When you are in environments with food that, like say for example, a lot of junk food, just focus on how can you not get carried away. You can have one per meal but not two in a row. That'll help keep you consistent, and then locking in your training and taking photos of yourself weekly until you've mastered this lean for life stage. Okay, so as always, please let me know if you find this useful. Tag me in your stories, share this with a friend, and go and give us a big review. Go and give us a review on iTunes. It would be so appreciated, so that we can get this message out there to a lot more people. So yeah, let's go get it. Let's level up.